Let's pretend this photo is all ready to go and we just want to save it. I Big focus of this video is saving for the web, but first let me show you how to save it just in case we need to go back and edit it later. So if I want to go ahead and save this, and we've talked about layers and all that kind of stuff, and part of the problems with saving it for the web is that it actually locks in all of our layers. So if we want to go back and say change this text to letter 2 or change the background color here, we won't be able to because it will be locked as one layer. So if we want to go back and edit it later, we save one version as a PSD file. So I'll go File, Save As, and I can just name it whatever I want. Van image. And under Format, I just want to make sure I'm selected as Photoshop and select the layers. Make sure that's checked right here. And that'll make it very easy for me to open up in Photoshop later and go through and be able to make any quick changes I need to make. Okay, now let's talk about saving for the web. And saving for the web is important because it'll actually decrease our file size while still allowing the photo to look good on the web. So all I have to do is go File, Save for Web. And you'll see we get a lot of different options here. View options, Original, Optimized, 2up, 4up. I really like 4up. 4up just allows us to compare 4 different things. You'll see we have the original right here in the top left. But if I zoom out a little bit, you can see most of the image. But I can select on these different panes and try out different presets or different ways of looking at the image. So the two main file types we're going to be working with and saving images for the web are going to be JPEG and PNG. A JPEG is what we're going to save an image as if it's going to be one full image with no cutouts or anything like that. For PNG, we're going to save it as that if maybe it's a graphic, maybe it's a cutout image, and I'll show you why in a little bit. But just think basically JPEG for images and PNG, portable network graphics, for maybe cutouts or transparencies. Typically when I'm saving images for the web, I save them as JPEG high. That preset tends to work pretty well for me. But know that you can go through and adjust the quality if you see this not quite what you're looking for. One of the reasons I like 4up is because we can select on some of these different panes and actually see how different these presets are. So this is JPEG high at the top here. This is JPEG low. You might not be able to tell on the screen, but this is actually a bit more pixelated. I could go through and try something else out. But I know JPEG high is typically going to work for me for what I want to do and for these images. So go ahead, select your image, select JPEG high, and let's go ahead and just hit save. And you'll see that it automatically gives you the JPEG extension. And I'm just going to save this as van-image, and I'm good to go. Now let me show you an instance where you may use a PNG. So an instance like that might be if I just wanted this banner and say nothing behind it. So let's say I take out this image and leave the rectangle and leave the text, and I could go ahead and maybe recrop this. So if I crop it just like this, the rectangle and the text are still there, and you can see that this is kind of a transparent background because I don't have anything there anymore. Now I may want to run this as a banner across my website and actually let the color that I set in CSS for my website dictate the color behind here. So if I go ahead and go File, Save for the Web, you'll see a couple different things. So this is the original, so what I have now. If I have it set to JPEG high, it'll automatically put a white background behind it because JPEGs just don't have the quality to save it as transparencies. So if I select this next one, let me just go ahead and go down to PNG 24. That's a higher quality PNG. If I actually zoom in, you'll see no white background, totally transparency. I can even look at PNG 8, and you'll see if I zoom in real close, you'll see kind of a white background behind it. And you'll see that in images, especially if you cut them out. So you use that lasso tool and cut out your image. So we don't want to see that. So the big thing right here, we just go ahead and save this as a PNG24. If I hit save, and you'll see that it automatically gives us the PNG extension, and I can just save it again.